Okay, so I'm going to make some stuffed peppers for my mom. And I got these peppers from the 99-cent store. Okay, so this is the ingredients. Ground turkey, a can of diced tomatoes or tomato sauce. I'm going to put some chopped garlic, onion powder, basil, parsley, salt, and sage, oregano, thyme, pepper, garlic powder, and some Italian breadcrumbs. And I took some pepper off so that these would lay flat. And I'm going to chop these up and put it in with meat. And I'm going to chop up an onion and have 2 eggs. And also, I think that's it. So let me go ahead and chop up this and the onion, and then I'll show what it looks like in the bowl. Okay, so I chopped up the onion and the pepper, and I forgot that I like putting some olive oil in the meat because the ground turkey is kind of dry, and it needs a little bit of oil, otherwise it really is dry. That's why you try and add as much vegetable and tomato to the filling, the pepper filling. So some people, instead of breadcrumbs, they use rice, cooked rice. So that tastes really good. I like having the rice instead of the bread. But my mom does not like rice in her stuffed peppers. So I had to get some breadcrumbs because I know then she'll eat it. And I don't really measure out the ingredients for the onions. I guess that looks like probably a cup, and that looks like half a cup of chopped up pepper. And maybe put a teaspoon each of all these spices. Yeah, that probably would work. Okay, so now I'm going to mix it all together. So when you cut your peppers up, you have to take out the white pithy stuff and the seeds. So the white here is very bitter. And so if you don't remove as much as you can, then the peppers are going to be very bitter. Okay, so I'm going to mix this up some first, and then I'll put in the canned tomatoes and maybe, I don't know, a cup of the breadcrumbs. Okay, so that's what it looks like mixed up with the onions and the pepper. And when my mom was making this, when I was younger, she never chopped up peppers in with the meat. But I always thought it would have been good with the flavor of the pepper mixed in instead of just stuffing it into the pepper, because I didn't always like eating the whole pepper. So that's why I started chopping up the peppers in with the meat. Okay, so now I'm going to add the tomato, and this has flavors, Italian style. And for the olive oil, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. And I'm also going to drizzle some olive oil on top once I stuff the peppers. Okay, so now I'm going to add the seasonings. Okay, so I'm going to add about this much of the garlic. And this is the onion powder. So, all right, I have a teaspoon and I'm going to measure out some spices. And it could be that I only use half a teaspoon sometimes. I just like measure it in my hand and what looks good, or just sprinkle it in the bowl. So I will measure it out to see how much I use. Okay, I'm almost out of parsley. I think this, I'll just put that in there, like maybe 1/8 teaspoon. Okay, I think I got this at the Dollar Tree. Okay, so I'm gonna say, let me see, I'll put 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons of parsley. Okay, the onion powder. Yeah, I'm gonna have to open the lid. Okay, so I have 1 teaspoon of onion powder. I think that's probably enough since I have a cup of onions in there. I have a teaspoon of basil. Yeah, that looks good. I got a half a teaspoon of sage. Half a teaspoon of ground oregano. Yeah, that's a lot of spices. I got a half a teaspoon of thyme. 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper. And 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Yeah, the reason you have to put so many spices in is ground turkey doesn't have any flavor, hardly any flavor at all. You really have to dress it up. Okay, so I'm going to mix all this together and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is it. It looks pretty good. I don't think there's too many spices. So now I'm going to fill up the peppers, and then I'm going to drizzle some olive oil and salt and pepper on top. Okay, so this is what it looks like when they're stuffed. And you have to have it sort of level because you need to put the foil over it. These are going to cook for 2 hours at 350 and for about an hour and a half covered with foil, and the last 30 minutes you leave uncovered so they get a little brown. And I put the extra in the pan, so yeah, that's what they look like. Gonna drizzle some olive oil on top, just a little bit, so that it doesn't dry out. The turkey does get a little dry if you don't put enough oil or vegetable in it. Now I'm going to sprinkle some salt over it, just a little salt. Sprinkle a little pepper. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to put the foil over the pan and start cooking it for 2 hours. And I'll show what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. I forgot to mention that I usually put a little bit of water in here in the pan. So I'm going to measure it out. Let me see, I got a cup and a half. Let me see how much I put in there. Okay, so I think I put about, I don't know, almost a cup of water in the pan so that they don't dry out. Okay, so I'm about to put it in the oven. Okay, I just took the stuffed peppers out and I realized I forgot to put the breadcrumbs in, but I think they turned out okay. Yeah, so also I made some rice-a-roni and I put some green beans in there. Rice-a-roni, and I put a can of these green beans. I chopped them in half. Stuffed peppers go really well with potato salad, but since I'm going to be freezing these, I had to make something that goes well frozen. You can't really freeze potato salad. Doesn't taste good. Okay, so now I'm going to put these in some containers with the rice, and I'll show what those look like. Okay, so I have these all packaged up. These are the containers of the lunch meat that I get from the 99-cent store, and they're really good containers. So I have 3 of those with the stuffed pepper and the rice, and I'm going to put the containers in the freezer now, and they'll be ready to go. I have to label them, so I'll put a label. Okay, so that's stuffed peppers with rice-a-roni. They're really good. I did try a bite of it, and it is good. Yeah, it's not too spicy. So I hope you try making stuffed peppers.